everyone. Welcome to our weekly wellness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rebecca, and today we're joined by Amy Vick, our new veterinary technician recruiter. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah, so excited to have you here. This is your first week with the team,
Yes.
so very excited to have the chance to introduce you to everybody and just really show you all about My Pet's Wellness and kind of see, I would say, show you a different side of the veterinary industry. Because you've been historically a vet tech in the clinics.
Yes.
So I'd love for you to just start off by telling me a little bit about yourself and your journey in veterinary medicine.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me. Super excited to be here. Yes, this is my first week, so we're diving deep down into it, so I'm excited. So yes, my name is Amy. I first knew that when I went to school that I wanted to help people, but I wasn't exactly sure what that meant for me.
Right.
So I went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I got my degree in nonprofit management. I always aspired to kind of use that to kind of help fulfill my passion of helping people and helping the community and whatever that looks like. While I was in college, I got my feet wet first at this low-cost spay-neuter clinic in Chattanooga.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I first got into vet med. I really loved it. It was really, really great. I didn't do a lot of the medical side of things. I did more of the administrative duties.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn more. So the past 3 years, like you said, I have been a vet tech, and that's kind of where I have found my passion for the industry.
Yeah.
It's been really, really great, and I have super loved it so far. It's exciting to see where else I can take this field of passion of mine.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I love that you kind of jumped right into like a spay neuter clinic.
Yeah.
And probably got a ton of really amazing experience there and a good feel for kind of the, I would imagine, faster paced kind of field of vet med.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It was completely different than working in like a all kind of clinic where you can do a lot of other things. This was a very particular thing, so we just did spay neuter, but
right.
it was great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So as you know, My Pet's Wellness, we are focused on wellness, not only of our patients, but also like the well-being of our team members. I would love, could you describe your experience with well-being in veterinary medicine and what that looks like for you?
So well-being, I would say ultimately is happiness and being content in your occupation and your field choice. I do think that this particular industry, it is hard to accomplish a sense of well-being.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that actually when I tell people first off, oh, I'm a vet tech, they're like, oh, you get to play with puppies and kitties all day.
I know.
Like,
the puppies and kitties.
Yes, always the puppies and kitties. And yes, I do. And that I love it. But there's so much more into this industry that a lot of people don't think about, especially the well-being and the mental health aspect of the career. It's very hard, and there are a lot of struggles that go along with that that a lot of people just don't realize.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's so important to highlight that and to just be very vocal about it, not just for people that are interested in coming into the industry and realizing, just be prepared for these types of challenges as they arise, but for people who are in it and are feeling maybe like they're the ones that are, they're the only ones that are feeling that way. It's important, I think, to create the sense of community, and like we're all struggling with that to some degree in vet med.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and why, in your mind, would you say it's important to just be aware of that and to raise awareness of mental health in veterinary medicine?
Ultimately, so we can stay in veterinary medicine. The burnout rate is very real in vet med. Feeling overwhelmed and fatigued in the elements, it comes naturally, unfortunately, and it's something that I think being aware of is the first step of making that change. So being able to communicate with your peers and your coworkers of how you're feeling is also super important, so everyone can, like you're saying, understand that we're all going through this together, and start to make a change in that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, like you said, it's just so important to raise that awareness, to have those conversations. And I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing in the industry, that a lot more people are having those conversations, and that it's becoming, I think, much more common to explore, like, how am I feeling today? Why am I feeling like I'm stressed or burned out? And really kind of dive into it. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with well-being. Have you heard about our weekly wellness rounds? If you're a veterinarian, you know more than anyone how tough life can get. Whether it's dealing with difficult clients, communication challenges on your team, issues in your personal life, or even just a busy week where you feel like you haven't been able to stop and actually catch your breath. There are so many things that come into our lives that can impact our mental health. So that's why we've started our weekly wellness rounds. This is a judgment-free place to come talk through your experiences with other veterinary professionals who get it. These conversations are moderated by our Director of Wellness and Personal Growth, Dr. Rodney Robertson, who is also a licensed mental health professional. Weekly wellness rounds take place on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and all of these meetings are virtual, so there's no need to stress about adding yet another trip to your busy week. You can register and join our weekly wellness rounds by visiting our DVM support website at mypetswellness.net/DVM support. So join us for weekly wellness rounds on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central. We hope to see you there. And so in your current role, right, you've moved from more on the kind of admin side spay neuter to now you're a vet tech recruiter. So you've seen admin, clinical, and now you're on the vet tech recruiter side.
Yes.
What drew you to that role? I'm curious what piqued your interest.
Yes, so being as a vet tech for the past 3 years, I've had my fair share of working in that toxic environment and working in that and feeling the burnout rate and feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental health issues myself and wondering if this is, what's right for me. And it was a very hard struggle for me internally because I love this field. I love this. This is where my passion is. This is what I knew I wanted to do. And then when I got into the career, I remember my first day, I was just like, I'm going to be here forever. I love it. I love animals. I love being able to help people and helping the community, educate them on wellness and pets wellness and all that. But it was hard. It was really, really hard. So I noticed the need to do something differently, and whether it's just to explain to the coworkers that we're all feeling this way and kind of put your finger on that mental health aspect of how we can help each other to work this out, because you'll find in vet medicine that a lot of people have that passion. A lot of people love working where they work. It's just extremely hard to do so. So when this opportunity came to me, I felt like I really could do what I can here, either from the very beginning of the recruiting process, just being as transparent as possible, letting people know that there are struggles out there, but more importantly, being a light at the end of the tunnel and offering solutions. My Pets Wellness has some really great wellness programs that kind of help their employees through the burnout feeling and the struggles of mental health. So I want to be that resource for people right from the very beginning.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that. The light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
I often talk about how with candidates, how it's like, I feel like a lot of veterinarians and vet techs feel like the grass is brown everywhere, because there's been a lot of talk about mental health and well-being and stuff, and I feel like people have somewhat become disillusioned to the idea that someone is doing things differently. So I feel like a big part of my role, and probably you'll feel this in your role, is showing people that like the grass can actually be green. Like the grass is not brown everywhere. There are employers out there, there are people out there that are trying to change the industry, and so I feel like that's probably, speaking to that light at the end of the tunnel. It's really exciting to be able to be in that position of being a place where people can, have hope that they're going to be able to stay in the industry and not burn out, not have, just leave the industry entirely, which we've seen a lot of in vet med. In your mind, what do you think companies can do better to support their team members? Anything specific?
I think ultimately what we're talking about, being that light and that support system, offering the solutions as far as wellness programs or therapy or group bonding exercises, whatever it might be, just having something is really encouraging, more so than not. Dealing with something like this in the mental health world, it can be very daunting, but having some sort of directional path to go is super important. So having companies that have that option, I think, is really, really awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And then what would you say are your dreams or aspirations for the vet tech industry?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing I get a lot of are like being in the vet tech world and how they're feeling. They would say they feel overworked, understaffed, and underpaid and underappreciated. Those are all the big words that I get. So goals for the whole industry and being a vet tech in general, I would like to see that turned around. I would love for people to feel fully staffed and have a team to support them in the field, in the clinics themselves, to feel like they are not overlooked and they are very appreciated in what they do, whether it be by clients or their peers or their superiors or their companies in general of who they're working for.
Absolutely.
There are lots of things that I think are goals and aspirations in the industry, but whatever I can do to help focus on those particular things and make a difference is what I plan on doing.
I love those aspirations of identifying all of those unders that I heard, understaffed, the underappreciated, and making that change. That's really inspiring. So
lovely.
Fantastic. Well, super grateful that you had a chance to join us today and that we could talk through your experience and your goals and just all of the things that you have to look forward to in this role. And I'm so excited to have you on the team and be able to be in this role with you, going through and hoping, to improve things in vet med. So.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, and thank you all for joining us. We will see you next time.
Alrighty.